The year is 1066, a turning point in English history. A year that would end the age of the Vikings and close the chapter on the Anglo-Saxons. For centuries, Viking longships had terrorized the coasts of Europe, but now their final invasion was about to begin. From across the North Sea, King Harald Sigurdsson of Norway, known to history as Harald Hardrada, the Hard Ruler, set sail with 300 ships and 10,000 men. With him was Tostig Godwinson, the exiled brother of England's new king, Harold Godwinson, driven by vengeance and ambition. Together they sought the English crown. In early September, the Vikings crushed an English army at Fulford near York. The city surrendered, and Hardrada believed victory was his. But far to the south, King Harold Godwinson gathered his warriors, his elite housecarls, and the firemen. Ordinary farmers turned soldiers and began one of the most extraordinary marches in medieval warfare. Nearly 200 miles in just 4 days, through rain, mud, and exhaustion, to face the invaders head-on. At dawn on September 25th, Harold's army appeared suddenly over the hills near the River Derwent. The Vikings were caught off guard, many unarmored, resting in the fields beneath the late September sun. Hardrada's men scrambled to arm themselves, their armor and heavy gear left miles away at their ships in Rickle. Still, the Viking king refused to retreat. Before the clash, Harold Godwinson and his brother Tostig met across the bridge. Harold offered peace in the return of Tostig's earldom, if he would turn against Hardrada. Tostig asked what his brother would give the Norwegian king in return. Harold's reply became legend: 7 feet of English ground, or more, since he is taller than other men. The offer was refused. The battle began. A small Viking force held the bridge, and among them stood one lone warrior, a giant of a man wielding a great axe. Alone, he cut down every English soldier who dared cross. Time and again the English charged, and each time he struck them down. The legend says he killed over 40 men before he was finally slain, speared from beneath the bridge through the planks. With the bridge cleared, Harold's army poured across. Hardrada rallied his men on a low rise beyond the river and formed them into a mighty shield wall. Now the black raven banner land waster fluttered in the wind above him. Tostig urged the king to fall back to the ships, but Hardrada refused. He would stand and fight as a true Norse warrior king. The two armies clashed with fury. The sound of steel echoed across the fields. Axes bit through shields, spears splintered, and men screamed and fell beneath the sun. For hours the fighting raged. Vikings, fierce and fearless, fought half-naked, their armor left behind at the ships. Their courage was unmatched, but courage could not shield them from exhaustion or English arrows. An English arrow struck Hardrada in the throat. The great Viking king fell where he stood, his lifeblood staining the grass of England. With his death, the heart of the Norse army broke. Tostig lifted Hardrada's fallen banner and took command. Once again his brother offered peace. Once again he refused. He chose to die beside his men rather than bow to mercy. The Vikings fought to the last. By sunset, the field was littered with their dead. Reinforcements from the ships finally arrived under Hastings, but it was too late. Exhausted from their desperate march, they charged straight into the weary English ranks and were cut down almost to a man. Of the hundreds of ships that had carried the Vikings from Norway, only 24 returned home. The Viking Age was over. King Harold Godwinson had won a miraculous victory. England was safe, for now. But as his men buried the dead, a new message arrived from the south. William, Duke of Normandy, had landed at Pevensey Bay. Harold turned his weary army south again, to Hastings, where England's destiny would be written in blood. The Battle of Stamford Bridge marked the end of the Viking era, the fall of the last great Norse king, and the dawn of a new age that would forever shape the destiny of England. This is Pistoria, bringing history's greatest moments back to life.